So I'm going to give some perspective on my 2011 BMW Alpina B7. I've had this car about 2 months now, and I gotta say I've enjoyed it. You know, I've got it as a daily driver to minimize the miles on my other toy, and also I wanted the other toy to feel more special because I was driving it so much. You know, when you drive or really enjoy anything so much, it begins to lose its luster. So this was meant to be something that was special, fun, certainly fun enough to keep me from getting into the other car. So in that respect, it's done its job. Now you'll notice it looks more aggressive than usual. I've actually, it's got H&R springs on it, so it's lowered some. That's how it was when I bought it, actually. So the other owner had good taste, because this is a car that begs to be just with perfect stance. So to augment what was already done, I went on ahead and added some H&R spacers to get the stance just about right, and it's perfect. So, you know, the first thing I noticed about the car when I drove it was it feels very solid. It feels heavy, like you'd expect, right? It's a big car, it's a 7 Series. What I didn't expect is how firm the steering felt. The car just felt very much like a tank. In fact, I liken it to a tank with rocket boosters on it. This has soft closed doors, by the way, which is always nice. Very lightly close it and it finishes off. But this is not meant to be a review. Remember, I hate the word review. It's really more, I'll call it perspective, just to get some perspective. Whenever I looked at reviews online, the goal really was to get people's opinion, try and find people that had similar taste as me, understand what they've owned before, see if they like this car and why, that sort of thing. So that's really what I'll do. And if we start it up, notice is that it's a bit of a muffled exhaust note, as you would expect for a turbo car. So it's not that brap brap kind of sound that you get from something like an AMG S63. This is more of it's a bit of mellifluous, as I would call it, mellifluous sort of sound. But I've enjoyed it. I mean, it's just been a fun car. I think that it just has a very exotic presence, I should say. The fact that it's this blue, Alpina blue, is not something you will often see on any sort of car, let alone a big saloon like this. So in that respect, it's special. I was actually considering an Aston Martin Rapide when I got this, and I still may get a Rapide because the Rapide is V12, normally aspirated. It's just a cool car. It doesn't have the same back seat space this one has. So this is a short wheelbase, and I really didn't want the really huge long wheelbase. I thought this was perfect. I'll give you a little bit of view again of the stance. How it looks phenomenal on the spacers. Out back, I'm only 5'7", so there's not a whole lot of, I guess I gotta unlock the back here, because I had the key inside the car. It's a good amount of space. Get back heated seats, of course, and ventilation controls. Here's the car seat, because when we're not in the wife's SUV, we're in this. Love the Alcantara headliner. Again, this is not something that's special. It's been on M5s for a while now, probably since the E38. A little bit of perspective about some cars I've owned. I've had an E38, 740i, I've had multiple M cars, including E36, and I just got that as because it was a classic. I've had several Z3 and Z4 M Coupes, M Roadsters, and the like. 3 NSXs, Jag XJR, XKR, Lotuses, you name it, I've owned it, Vipers. But this car is a good compilation of really several, right? It's smooth, extremely powerful. I mean, you'd think that only an S8 has this kind of thrust, but this is right there with an S8. It just doesn't have all-wheel drive, and I deliberately did not want an all-wheel drive car at this point. My other toy is all-wheel drive. So if you're interested in an Alpina B7 and you're on the fence, you want some perspective, feel free to comment on the video. I'll be happy to answer any questions. It's a good car. No bad thing to say about it. Hey, well, I guess let me take that back. Criticisms. The suspension in normal mode or luxury mode is pushing being under suspended. It's almost so soft for such a big car that you almost think it's bottoming out. It's kind of bouncy. I don't like that. So it stays in sport mode for me. The throttle can tend to be a little bit on or off in terms of really getting on it. When you accelerate briskly, it goes all in. It's like unleashing an atomic bomb. I mean, it's just that crazy. And sometimes it kicks down more than what you might have asked for, but that could just be me tipping more in than I really need to. That's really it. Other than that, love the car.